Hi, it's a Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to shoot a video for you sharing my most loved products of 2020. Now, these are products that I purchased and tried for the first time this year. And there's a lot of products that I'm not going to mention that I love and I use all the time, but these are the ones that I used for the first time this year. Now, that doesn't mean that they were all released this year. Some of them have been new for this year, and some of them I just finally decided to, oh, let me try that out. So thank you for watching today. I would love to know in the comments down below what your favorite products were that you discovered this year or that you tried for the first time. This little beauty here from L'Oreal, this is their Age Perfect Radiant Concealer. This is amazing. So when I am getting ready for the day and I put concealer on, I have to tap it out and then both sides, and then I go to reach for a brush. I dip it in some powder, and right before I come back to the face, I've got a mirror or a compact that I'm looking at my eye, and I can see most concealers will have settled into little crinkles, like right down in here. This L'Oreal product has a wild claim that it will not settle in the crinkles. And I think that's what every woman over a certain age wants to hear, that you've created a little bit of magic in a tube where if I blend it right, it's gonna stay exactly there. What's weird is out of all the concealers I have, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, you've done me wrong and you've done me wrong. This one, it doesn't. Now, I don't leave it for a long time where it's not set. So since I always set my concealer, I don't know if I could go the whole day and not have it migrate into my crinkles and my wrinkles, but I can tap it out. I can reach for a compact, pick up some powder, and start doing this without having to re-tap it out. I'm always tapping up my concealer before I put powder there because every other concealer I have settles into my wrinkles. This one doesn't. The other thing I should tell you, this is a medium weight concealer. It's lightweight. It does look very skin-like. I do like that about it. There aren't a ton of shades, and if you're looking for something that is more full coverage, this probably won't do it for you. But if you like a lighter skin-like, maybe I can't tell you're wearing makeup type of concealer, this is pretty good. Let's talk about some drugstore powders. The one that I tried for the first time this year, I couldn't believe it. This is from CoverGirl. It's their Advanced Radiance. This powder is really great. I do use it with the puff that comes with it. I do wash this, and you can just buy replacement CoverGirl puffs like this, but I'll tell you, this powder is beautiful. I find it's really similar, not completely, but it's very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder. That powder is $45. This one here is about 10. Wow, it's really beautiful. I wish it came in a few more shades. I have shade 110 Creamy Natural. I feel like I would like it if it was just a hair lighter, but this is beautiful on the skin. And since it does have just a very small amount of radiance to it, it looks really great. My favorite part is that I can take it with this little guy here, you know, kind of give it a little pinch, make it into a taco, hit the corners of my nose, hit under my eyes, and I never feel like I get a really heavy, cakey layer. If I'm getting a lot of shine over my nose, I can just kind of press this in and it cancels out. I'm just gonna do it because I've got it open right now. It does take just a quick minute and it brings down the shine, but it never makes my skin look too heavy or too powdery. This is a beautiful, beautiful powder. Another hidden gem at the drugstore, if you haven't tried it, is this one from e.l.f. This is their Halo Glow Setting Powder. So two things that I like about this. One, the fact that, and this is silly, but it's kind of a big deal. It has a sifter cover where you can open up the sifter and you can close the sifter so that you don't end up with like powder everywhere. I usually open the sifter, tip some here into the cap, swirl my brush in here. Now, the best part about this really reminds me of another more expensive powder. It reminds me of the Hourglass Veil Setting Powder. Is it identical? No. Is it extremely reminiscent for $8? Oh yes, yes it is. What's great about this is it does have a subtle, soft luminosity. I think you're seeing a pattern here. I do like something that's not going to completely make me look like a flat surface, like a matte surface. I do want a little bit of shine, a little bit of glow, a little bit of lifelikeness to my skin. And I get that with this. I have used this with a flat top brush like this, where I'll put it in here and then I'll buff over everything after I've done my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, and I just buff over and it makes it look so beautiful. This is a gorgeous powder for $8 at the drugstore. The last powder that I fell in love with this year, and I have used so much. I surprised myself how much I've used these 3 powders. Those first 2 I mentioned, really great. This other one, you can only get at one place because it's a beauty pie powder. This is their One Wonder powder in the shade Uberlecent Universal. Now, it looks frightening in the pan because it is literally white. I can already feel like I've got a very serious dip in here. I've been hitting this hard, but as I run my finger over it, you can see just a little bit of a white cast, but it blends to nothing. I don't know that I would trust this powder on richer skin tones. That would make me nervous. I guess if you have a deeper skin tone than I do, have you tried this? Do you like it? But what I love about this is another one of those that has a subtle sheen to it, and it makes my skin look amazing. This powder and the one from e.l.f. are amazing under the eyes. I do use this one. This one's just a touch heavier, but this one here is almost completely undetectable on my skin. And when I use that No Crease Concealer and set it with this, it's like I'm not even wearing makeup. I really do like this powder. It takes me a long time to work through powders, but I've been really dedicated to this one. If we're talking cheek products, I fell in love with this. This is Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush Flawless Bronzer, and isn't the pan enormous? I feel like it's almost as big as my face. I am wearing this bronzer today. What I love so much about this is the lightest shade she has. This is shade number 1. And it almost looks like nothing. And it looks like it might even be too light for me. But let me tell you, this is the one bronzer I can take like on a brush, grab a fluffy brush, hit this, tap it off a little bit, and start putting it on. And I never feel like I end up with what looks like dark smudges. It blends beautifully. What I like about this is the ease of being able to throw it on and not really worry about, is it exactly in the right place? Because, oh, even though I love makeup and I have a YouTube channel all about makeup, I am not the best. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm a makeup enthusiast, and I make makeup mistakes all the time. This is one of those products that the texture of it, because it's super, super soft, really finely milled, between that and the light shade of it is exactly what I need, so that if I get it slightly in the wrong spot, like I do sometimes, this is very forgiving. It blends beautifully. It works well with other products. You can layer nicely over the top of it. And my favorite part about this is that the pan is refillable. I have tried a lot of blush this year, and one of the ones that just knocked my socks off is this from M Cosmetics. This is the Heaven's Glow. And this is the shade Magic Hour. Can you see the sheen in this? It has a beautiful soft sheen. I am wearing this today. I love this blush so much. Now, on days that I don't want to do too much, I'll use a real light concealer, set it with powder, put on a little bit of this, a little something in my brows, and some gloss, and I'm done. It's very, very easy because this has a little bit of like a glow to it. I feel like I don't need highlight. If I want a real super easy day, and real light makeup, almost not their makeup, this is beautiful. You can build it up. It does have some nice intensity to it, but I love this blush so much. Another blush that I discovered this year is from Goss. This is his Weightless Veil Blush Duo. This right here is a gorgeous blush. This is the shade Coral Rose. So the blush is beautiful, but I think, if I'm totally honest, my favorite part of this is the highlight in here. It's incredible. It's like blinding, blinging. Is that for real? And the thing that I love about it is if you take a brush and you buff it in, if you can leave it like a little landing strip. I kind of have a little bit of that going on. But the more time I take with just a plain brush to kind of buff it in, it looks more like glowing skin and not so much like super blingy highlight. I'm kind of wearing it like blingy highlight today, but this combination here of the blush and the highlight has been remarkable, but I'm super in love with this highlight. So when I'm thinking about my favorite eyeshadows of 2020, they're all from the same brand. They're all Sydney Grace. I've done so many Sydney Grace videos this year. The first one that kind of kicked it off for me was this right here. This is the Enduring Love palette. This launched in January. I remember being so excited about this. You can see that, you know, my finger's been in here, my finger's been in here, my finger's been in here. And if you were to look sideways at the pans, a lot of the mattes where it's not as obvious, there is like a little depression in each one where my brush has been hitting the places. Like I've been in this one a lot too. I love this palette. This palette is beautiful. It's one of the palettes that I have that leans a little bit cooler. Like if you cover this right here, you get some cooler vibes to this. I do love that it comes with a really nice mirror. I think the metallic packaging is cute. They did recently repackage this and now it's going to be coming in cardboard, but I love this palette. I also really appreciate that it comes both in a light and a dark version, where a lot of the shades will be the same, but some of these mid-tone transition shades here will be deeper in the dark version. I only have the light, but I love that Sydney Grace thought about that so that people who have a richer complexion and these colors might be too light or too ashy on, there are better options for them, and a palette that has a very similar color story. More than half the shades are the same. Like this one's the same, this one's the same, this one's the same. But some of those kind of mid-tone shades are the ones, or the lighter ones are the ones that they have a different shade in the dark palette. So I love this. The formula, oh my goodness, like look at that. It's just, I just want to, it's delicious. It's not, and I know makeup is not food, but just look at that shine. I love this company so much. Every year they do a Christmas in July sale. And I promised myself last year, in the beginning of this year, that I wasn't going to buy eyeshadow singles because they're here in my stash and then I never reach for them, with the exception of my Sydney Grace singles. These, I made a whole palette this year. I think I have two in another palette someplace else. I bought all of these during the Christmas and July sale, and I have a whole series of videos. I will link them for you here, my Sydney Grace videos, but where I go through and I, you know, pick a selection of shades from here and I build a whole look around it. I think it's just the magnificent formula. I love these kind of cooler taupey shades in through here. I love these kind of really amazing greens. They're kind of a boggy, mossy green. I really do like the purples, and I'm not really a purple kind of gal. I mean, I want to be, but I'm not really. One of my favorite shades is this one right here. It's a beautiful teal shade, but I love these pressed pigments. Let me just tell you what the name is. This one is called Keep It Fun, and allows me to play with color in a much more muted way. Like a lot of these colors, you know, more purple tones, more greens, they're not too bright. That's what I like, because the minute I get like a bright blue or a hot pink or, you know, something that's a little too, it intimidates me. These colors don't intimidate me, and the formula is amazing, the mattes, but the pressed pigments, I mean, the pressed pigments, they're so good. Another one of my favorites from this year from Sydney Grace is the Summer Days palette. This is the light version. They do have a dark version, just like the Enduring Love palette. The mattes, oh, they're so good. I really do love all of the metallic-y pressed pigments in here. I mean, they're remarkable. Look at that. It's so good. In, was it August or September, they collabed with Mel Thompson, and she created this Tiny Marvels palette. I have used this a lot. I feel like what keeps me coming back to Sydney Grace, I love sparkle, I love shine, but what really keeps me coming back is these metallic shades. These are their pressed pigments. They're just so gorgeous. Now, it makes it sound like this is the only thing that's good, but this is where I remind you, I am like a little bird who is constantly drawn to shiny things. Like, here I come, oh, it's sparkly, I'm there for it. That's my favorite thing. Like, I've got a real sparkly eye going on today. That's what I love the most. But the mattes in here, I didn't start doing a lot of matte eyeshadow looks until I discovered Sydney Grace mattes, because they're just impeccable. Everything blends, the pigmentation is amazing. It's just like the best eyeshadows I have ever tried. So I tried something this year for my brows, and when I saw it being advertised, I was like, is that a good idea? I don't know. Because it reminds me of a different type of product. And I have never tried a product like this that has worked successfully for me, mainly because the color of the pigment was wrong. But I decided if anybody was gonna get it right, it was gonna be Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is their brow pen. And it basically looks just like a liquid eyeliner, and it has this brush tip. So you can make the smallest, finest little hair strokes on your brow, fill in any bald spots you have. And I'm one of those where the older I get, the more brow hairs I lose. And I have a lot more volume from here to the arch. And then from the arch all the way out to the tail, it's almost as if my eyebrows disappear when I'm not wearing makeup. So this, and I normally when I'm using a new brow product, I have to have that, week or so where I'm using it and I'm trying to figure it out and I finally get the hang of it. I did not need to get the hang of this pen. I don't know what it was. It was just super easy. I just started drawing little tiny flicks, and you want to keep real lightweight with this. I also like to bend a finger here or use something to anchor to my face. So I'll put my finger down and then start doing this, because if I just go in like this, I'm more likely to I need a point of reference. So I'll just start feathering in little teeny tiny hairs, but especially where I have gaps. And all of a sudden it looks like I have like the most perfect lush brow. Another product that kind of changed my mind for me about drugstore fiber products is this. This little beauty from e.l.f. is called the Wow Brow. So it has a very similar wand. It has a short little spoolie. I feel like this is definitely very reminiscent to a lot of other products. This is one of those products that I was sure was impossible to make at a drugstore price. I saw this on Ulta the other day for $4. I see it in my Walmart for $5. It's a very inexpensive product, and it has fibers in the gel. And my favorite fiber brow product is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is like, what, $22? It's kind of expensive. It has a different style brush to it. But my favorite part about it is that the fibers aren't so long. So when you're brushing through your brows, I've tried some, the one from Essence is just like $3. The fibers are so long, they kind of end up like they'll attach to my natural hair and then they'll go beyond where my eyebrow is. I have these like long hairs, either, hanging down, hanging above, hanging at the tail. And then you try and brush them out and then you remove the fibers. I don't understand. I have a really hard time with that product. I know that the Benefit Gimme Brow, I'm like, are there fibers in here? It says it's supposed to be a fiber gel, but I just finished up a tube of that this year and it was okay. It just wasn't great. And that's like, what, $24? I feel like if you're looking for something that has fibers, they're not too long, it has a tint, but it's not too heavy, this is a great product and at a drugstore price. I'm just going to quickly mention these guys. These are from Viseart. These are the Petit palettes. They have 4 little shades in them. I haven't had them that long, but today's the first day since I've got them that I'm not wearing them. I was wearing this one yesterday. I've worn this one so much, and I am not kind of a cool eyeshadow kind of gal. I kind of have a feeling that because they're small palettes are definitely going to be something that I continue to reach for over and over and over again. The formula is great. The packaging is great. I love how small and compact they are, but I almost feel like it's unfair to say they're a favorite. They've been a recent favorite for me, but just because they're so good, I'm going to say that they made it into my top 2020. Let me show you this. This brush right here from Sonia G. This is the crease one. This came in my Beautylish Lucky Box, Lucky Bag for this year, for 2020. I did get one in 2019 and it was my first introduction to Sonia G. This is the Worker Pro, and this was the eye brush that I was using all of 2019 and for the first bit of 2020, where I got this brush and I kind of didn't know what to do with it. I finally figured it out and I love it. And I could use these two brushes right here and do a whole eye look and have everything that I needed. But because of those brushes, they made me fall in love with Sonia G. So when Wayne Goss's eyeshadow palette came out this year, when I made an order from Beautylish, I also ordered these two beauties. This right here is the mini booster, and it's from the Sky eye brush set. And this is amazing. It's great for putting color like right where you want it and then blending. It is a little fluffy, but it's one of those where although it is fluffy, it's not so big, because I sometimes worry that my eyeshadow gets like crazy blended out and I get out of control. So this helps me place it exactly where I want it. And I love those so much that when I ordered the Wayne Goss blush that came out in late summer, early fall, I ordered the whole Sonia G Sky eye set. The best. Now this one right here really reminds me of the Worker Pro. This one is not as well loved as this one. This one here has had a lot more use. This one still has its shape a little bit more. It's slightly different. This one flares a little bit more. This one's a little bit more tapered on the sides. But I'll tell you, these two brushes, I can almost use, you know, one on one side, one on the other. I get the exact same look, but I love these brushes. My favorite, I do have, because I ordered the mini booster from this set, I do have a second mini booster. That one's great. This guy here is the Flat Definer. If you want smudgy lower lash line, if you want smudgy above the lash line, I'm not really big on wearing really precise eyeliner because my eyes water and it's a mess. So I like to either put on a liner, draw it on, and then smudge it with this, and then put like a powder on top to kind of set it. That helps my longevity with my weepy eyes. That helps a lot. But this is also great when it's perfectly clean and you don't have anything on it, to dip it into highlight and get it just like right here in the inner corner. I use this for a lot of stuff. This is really great. This has kind of taken the place of a lot of my pencil brushes. I love this brush. And then you get a real fluffy brush. This one right here is the Classic Crease. This basically does the work of blending for you. And the other one I have here is the Jumbo Blender. This does everything I want this to do, but I don't have to worry about seeing it being dirty. So I have been reaching for this. It's super soft. The white, I think this is white goat hair. They're both equally soft, but I love having two brushes that I can use. I normally don't put any eyeshadow on this. I use these just for blending the edges, kind of diffusing things if I want a light wash of color up to my eyebrow, but I don't want it too heavy. You know, I'll blend things and then I'll take a little bit of color here and kind of smudge it up there. I love both of these, but I'll tell you, investing in these Sonia G brushes this year, I feel like it makes me enjoy the process of putting on eyeshadow. I feel like they almost are like a magic wand, so I don't have to work so hard. It's like doing the work for me, and they're extremely high quality. They're amazing brushes. I just realized I have a whole bunch of lipsticks in front of me, and I think I'm gonna have to do a separate video, because if I launch into it now, we'll be here forever, literally. So let me do a best of 2020 lips for you next. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know what products either have been out there for a while and you tried for the first time this year that totally blew your socks off, or products that launched this year that have replaced other favorites in your collection. I would love to know what your favorites of 2020 were. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.